These are all of my 5-star reads for 2025 so far. I pretty much rate based on vibes, so I feel like I'm probably 5-star happy. However, I just really love books. My first 5-star read was Onyx Storm. Honestly, I gave this one 5 stars for like the first 100 pages and then the last 100 pages. The middle was a little bit slower, but I do think the beginning and the ending made up for that. This book had me stressed the entire time and I was constantly on the edge of my seat. And I can't believe I had to wait so long to find out what happens next. Next, I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Map of the Otherlands. Both of these were 5-star reads for me. There is a third one and I have read it. However, I gave it 4 stars because I didn't think it was as good as these two. These books are such a fun, cozy fantasy read. They have a really unique writing style, but the storytelling in these is epic. I loved the characters and I loved the adventures they went on, and I definitely think that everyone needs to read these books. Next, I have The Do-Over. Honestly, Lynn Painter's books are fantastic. She has a really great way of writing young adult romance, and this one was not a disappointment. I love the whole concept of this repeating Valentine's Day over and over, and had so much fun going along with Emily's journey. I also really loved how the repeating of the days was resolved. I devoured this book and read it in one day. Next, I have Rebel Witch. This is the second book in the Crimson Moth duology. This book was just as good as the first one. This is another book that I read in one day. It's fast-paced, it's twists and turns, and I love Rune and Gideon. This is one of my favorite duologies, so if you have not read this, then you need to check it out. Next, I have the Rome, Kentucky series. I gave 5 stars to the first two. The third one I gave 4 stars, but honestly I'm a little bit questioning that. The only reason why I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 was because I struggled a little bit in the beginning. However, I think this series as a whole is a 5-star series. These are such great romance books that give rom-com vibes. They introduced me to Sarah Adams, and she is now an auto-buy author for me. I do think this is her best series she's written, and I highly recommend this one. Next, I have The Love Hypothesis. I was hesitant to read this one, but I was blown away when I did. I loved so much about this one. The fake dating, the grumpy sunshine, the STEM representation. I loved Olive and Adam's relationship, and this book makes me want to read Ali Hazelwood's other works. Next, I have Summer in the City. This was my first billionaire romance, and I loved it. This was such a fun book that has what feels like true enemies to lovers, and it really makes New York City feel like a character. This whole book gives like 2000s rom-com vibes. It is such a fun read. Next, I have Sunrise on the Reaping. This should be no surprise. I thought this was such a great addition to the Hunger Games world. I loved getting to read about all the references, and there's so many in this one, and they are done so well. This is a book where I finished and then cried the entire afternoon. Next, I have Watch Me. I thought this was a great addition to the Shatter Me series. I loved how it focused on James's story, but it had all the characters from the original series that I loved. I think it did a really great job of blending sort of the old with the new, and I'm really excited to continue this and see where the story goes. Next, I have Fearless. This was another book that I thought was a great conclusion to the series. This whole book was a wild ride, especially towards the ending where there's so much information given to you that was absolutely shocking. This was another book where when I finished it, I cried all afternoon. Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. This is my #1 story for this year. Within the first 10 chapters, I already knew that this was going to be a 5-star read for me. This book has so many shocking twists and turns that I had no idea where this story was going, and the world building and character development is done really well. This has some of my favorite characters too that I've read all year. Just for the Summer, this is another book that I thought was perfection. The romance is done so well, the characters are fantastic, they're honestly really inspiring with their outlook on life and how they face the challenges that they have. This is my first book by her, and I'm excited to read her other stories. Last, I have It's Different This Time. This is being released on September 30th. This is another book that I absolutely loved. This is one where I finished and then I sat staring at the wall. This is going to be a great book for the fall, and I highly recommend checking it out when it's released.